Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, Super NES Classic Edition pre-orders are incoming. Capcom tests the Switch market. Again, and the wrong condiment wins Splatfest. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellis, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell. How's it going, Mark?
That's going pretty good. I mean, what a great day to be alive.
Oh, all right.
What a blessing every breath is.
This is a more positive spin on your take from last week when you were like, I'm kind of down. Now every breath is a blessing. You and I were just, in moments before we started recording, we're admiring the blues that you could see out my window.
The moon.
And the moon. So maybe it is. Maybe every breath is a blessing. It's a nice segue into weather report.
That's right.
Warm.
Smoggy.
So, every struggled breath is a struggled blessing. Our guest weather today is Kalamazoo, Michigan, as of the time of this recording, which, admittedly is nighttime in Michigan. It's 62 degrees with 71% humidity. Seems like it's been, alternately rainy and sunny in Kalamazoo.
It does look that way. Neither of us have you been to Kalamazoo?
No. I've been to Michigan.
Oh, I also have been to Michigan.
I have spent more time in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, as it is connected to Wisconsin, where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Than I have in the mainland Michigan. Is that how that distinction works?
It works for me.
All right, great.
Well, big ups to our listeners in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Big ups.
Keep fighting that good fight against that 70% humidity.
Yeah, we're fighting against 40% humidity, 50%.
Yeah, something like that.
It feels like it's been a lot.
Is it? How cold? This is tangentially related, but how
Yes.
cold does your place of work get?
How cold does it get?
Yeah, during the
the winter month?
No, like right now.
Oh, just hot all the time.
Oh, okay.
My office. So I work in an office inside a warehouse, and the warehouse is just like a giant sheet metal building.
Sure, yeah.
So it heats up tremendously all day. So yeah, it doesn't get cold at all. Does your office, is it hyper air conditioned?
So it wasn't for the air conditioning in the suite that I am in was not working. So for months they were just buying fans for everybody to just plug in and have facing right and just blasting them. And then you would go one suite over and it was freezing.
Yeah.
And then finally this past weekend, I guess they fixed it. And so I went into work today and for 30 minutes enjoyed the air conditioning before I immediately just turned to the person sitting next to me and was like, it's cold. Why is it so cold? You always find something to complain about.
That's
at work.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's work. It's unpleasant.
Yeah.
Mark, what have you been playing this week?
So it was a big weekend for Splatoon 2.
Mm-hmm,
It was the Splatfest.
Right? The inaugural Splatfest of all of us having the game.
That's right.
Right.
It was Team Mayo versus Team Ketchup.
Mark and I were both repping Ketchup.
Yeah, which I was surprised because I thought that you were flirting with the idea of being Team Mayo.
I flirt with all kinds of things I don't end up committing to, Mark.
So, do you have regrets of joining Team Ketchup? Because for listeners who have been living a blissful life unaware of the results of Mayo versus Ketchup, in all three regions, Mayo won. So
it's not just the results that people who are oblivious to Splatoon have been spared. It's the whole war.
Yeah.
I mean, this Splatfest has been divisive.
It's ugly.
It gets real ugly.
I said things that
you can't take back,
I can't take back, especially now that we've lost. Team Ketchup lost. I mean, I will always be Team Ketchup.
Right, okay. I honestly, I don't feel that much of an affinity for ketchup. If it had been ketchup and versus almost any other condiment, no, it's not right because I wouldn't be Team Mustard. But if it were Team Ketchup versus Team Barbecue Sauce,
Oh, I mean, in that case, I would be barbecue sauce for sure. But do you consider barbecue sauce a condiment? It's a sauce.
This is a great distinction. I put it on a lot of things,
Yes.
like burgers
Mm-hmm.
or sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a great. I honestly, I'm not sure which is a condiment and which is a sauce.
Well, in my opinion, a barbecue sauce is not a condiment. I'm open to other interpretations, but hopefully there won't be a Splatfest about that.
If there's a Splatfest along those lines, it should be barbecue versus ranch.
Yes. Yeah, that would be very American focused.
Yeah,
Which they've done in the past.
right. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we lost. Mark, did you play a lot of Splatfest this weekend?
I did. I didn't play as much as I would have liked to because it took the first night, Friday night, it was only 24 hours.
That's right.
And from Friday night to Saturday night. And Friday night, I tried to play a little bit, got connection errors left and right.
Yeah.
It was just always being, instead of being versus Team Mayo, it would just be like ketchup on ketchup.
Yeah. Well, so I also had a lot of ketchup on ketchup fights, and the breakdown, it was like 73% of players were on Team Ketchup.
Whoa.
So like that's inevitable that you're gonna have to just play against your own team sometime.
Right. But just like really bad problems throughout the entire Splatfest connecting, where you'd be like in a match and then and then the match would conclude, it'd be fine, and then you would get kicked out, and it would take you forever to like get matched with a team again, and then you'd have to wait another 120 seconds or whatever. It's just like all the time in between the matches,
right,
added up. It seems like there is something specifically with Splatfest that they have like matchmaking problems with, and it probably is because so many people are on ketchup and not as many are on mayo. And it's a frustrating experience when you're like the highest. I'm not even that high level in Splatoon 2. I think I'm like level 15.
Okay.
So like you're the highest level. Everybody else is like level 4 and 5. And then you get matched up against a Team Mayo that's like all level 30.
30s. Yeah.
And you're like, well, what am I even supposed to do?
Just do your best, man. Just have fun. So some other things that the Splatfest, it takes over Turf Wars, and basically all you're able to do is, does it also take over the ranked matches too? Or
yeah.
It becomes the only way to play is one team versus another team in Turf War. But it also changes the music and changes the lighting in all the levels and introduces a new stage entirely called Shifty Station. I really liked Shifty Station.
I did too. I thought it was awesome.
I love that these giant chunks of the course that just like slide past each other. And it was cool. It's cool to have a new course, or maybe even like a Splatfest specific course that we'll only get to play during these events.
And I liked this idea of, like you were saying, a shifting course. Did Splatoon 1 have anything similar to that? I just really like that idea.
Yeah, I like that too. I can't remember there being one.
I saw a lot of people online complaining about Shifty Station, or saying that it was it always led to unbalanced matches where like one team would just cream the other. And that wasn't my experience.
Yeah, it wasn't mine either.
I found them to be fairly competitive for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, no less competitive than other maps.
Yeah. But yeah, I really liked Shifty Station.
So I played a bunch of Splatfest as well. I meant to get back into it on Saturday night, but Sarah and I sunk many hours into Overcooked, which we have almost beaten. We've gotten all the way to the Beast, the final boss, and have been unable to beat him. It's a 12.5-minute long like Overcooked level.
Whoa.
And it's so hard. We've never gotten close, as far as I can tell. And every time we attempt it, it's 12.5 minutes long. So like a normal Overcooked level is 3 minutes, right? You get into it, you go 3 minutes, and it's over. Ding, ding, ding. You did well, you did poorly. But it is excruciating to get like kind of a rocky start at the beginning of those 12 minutes, and then like Well, we got to practice later on, so let's just get to it and try, even though we know we're going to fail this time. But man, what a good game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have fun when I play it. We were playing a little bit on Saturday, and it's like the more people you have, I kind of feel like the more fun it is.
Yeah, I think that's got to be true. Playing it by yourself doesn't make any sense, but
no.
I mean, part of what's fun about it is just screaming at your friends, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything scream at you like, "No, I said onions, you idiot!" I have also been playing Air Zonk.
As promised.
It's fun. It's more fun than those types of games normally are.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
So, for somebody who didn't listen to the show last week when we talked about it, explain what Air Zonk is.
Air Zonk is originally a TurboGrafx 16 game. It has reappeared on the Wii U Virtual Console. It takes the main character of the Bonk's Adventure games. He's like a caveman. And it puts him into the future and makes him a cyborg that like flies across the screen, and like it's basically a shoot 'em up kind of like Gradius style.
I'm imagining that like Bonk himself is the airplane, like he is just flying.
He is.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That makes me very happy.
But like he's like a cyborg Bonk, which is Zonk. And the that style of gameplay isn't necessarily like the most engaging or fun, but like this game has a lot of really funny and cool looking power-ups and companions that like you collect along the way. So like, there are just times when basically the whole screen is filled up with either your bullets, your allies' bullets, and the enemy bullets like all flying around. And it's just like big, stupid spectacle. It's a very nice like 16-bit colorful fireworks show.
Sorry, you may have just said this, but like, are you are Bonk or Zonk?
You're Zonk, right?
And are you shooting aircraft or are you shooting other?
You're shooting some very strangely designed enemies.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes the enemies are like robotic lampposts. Sometimes they're like a bird with like giant spiky metal talons and a football jersey. The designs in this game are insane, and you're just fighting nonsense, and it just keeps coming at you, and you keep coming at it. I don't really know that I can describe it. Like it's just insane.
That kind of sounds awesome.
It's fun. We can play a little bit after we record here. We also played a little bit of Yoshi's Story.
That's right.
For Thursday's episode, we brought Kelly Nugent in to talk about Yoshi's Story with us, and we had a fun time playing that game. But enough about what we have been playing. Mark, let's get into the new releases for next week and what we might be playing this week.
So I'm going to preface this with a good old-fashioned allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, on August 8th, today, Sign Mora X came out on the Switch eShop.
Alleged because
I keep hearing that it's like coming soon or later this summer, and when you go to the Nintendo website, there is no release date for it. It just says summer 2017. So it very well could be coming out today.
But who knows?
Right. So don't like hold us to that.
Right. Unless you're British, right? Then they can hold us to it.
Australian.
Oh,
because yeah.
That's right. Australians can correct us. That's right.
And how would they correct us?
Oh, by emailing us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com.
On August 10th, there is Flip Wars for the Switch eShop. That's the like Nintendo weird little like Nintendo eShop exclusive that seems to me like one of those like tech demo projects that they work on that occasionally get turned into larger games, but this one just seems like it is what it is.
Right. Like if they had taken Star Fox Guard back when it was just called Project Guard, not tacked it on to a Star Fox game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is that, if you're unfamiliar, this is that game where you're like little android robot things.
They all look like little Master Chiefs. Is what they look like
yeah,
to me.
little Master Chiefs, and you butt stomp, and when you butt stomp, the tiles flip over, revealing like the color of your avatar, and that's a confusing way of explaining that game, but you kind of get it.
Do you have interest in this thing?
No, absolutely not. Do
Also,
you?
No, not really. Master's Chief?
Master's Chief.
Master Chiefs.
I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar enough with the Halo mythology to know if Master Chief is like the only one in the universe, or if Master Chief is like a title. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm also not well versed enough in the, but I've been around enough Halo games and enough of Halo.
Well, sure, you exist in the world.
That's right, and play video games.
Yeah.
But like clearly, when you're playing online, everyone is playing as Master Chief.
Are you, or are you just playing as like?
Are they all Spartans?
Like Spartan soldiers. Yeah.
That was a good pull, right?
I'm impressed. Cortana.
There we go.
Ironcast coming out on the Switch eShop on the 10th. Phantom Trigger comes out on the 10th. And the Neo Geo game of the week is The King of Fighters 2000.
2000! I might pick up King of Fighters, but probably not.
Well, you have so many of these Neo Geo games.
I have too many of them right now. Plus, I've got all these TurboGrafx 16 games to play. It's too many obscure video game system releases for me to play. Anything on there interesting to you, Mark?
I like the look of Phantom Trigger, but we'll see if I pull the trigger.
The Phantom Trigger. Well, and let's just all hold out for Sonic Mania next week.
Is it really next week?
It's next week.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be a real test of, I don't know what, my love for Sonic,
which is a fragile to
starting from
non-existent
zero.
thing, right? Yeah. All right, Mark, let's move out of the new releases. That leads us into a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, I want to talk about the pool. Going to the pool. Going down to the pool in your swimmy suit, going for a swim. Is this an activity that you enjoyed as a child? Is this an activity that you enjoy now?
I don't know the last time I've been, really. I don't like being in a swimming suit now.
Yeah, because you don't like taking your shirt off?
Yeah, a lot of it is that.
I find that there is like a weird hurdle at the beginning of any swimming session where it's like, okay, gotta take my shirt off now.
I think the last time I did like participate in pool-like activities was like a year ago. I went to a water park for a friend's birthday, and I don't even know. I think the last time I was at a water park was when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I was apprehensive. And the humanity is such a cornucopia of interesting shapes and sizes.
Did it make you feel less bad about your body?
It made me feel less bad about my body. That of course has faded with time, but after that, like for those, like I would say a couple months after I went to the water park, I was like, I don't have to feel terrible.
No, you don't, Mark. Of course you don't have to feel terrible. Do you miss going to pools?
No,
it seems like this is something that you've just pushed out of your mind entirely.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, I don't even really consider it an option. But also, that's part of, even though we live in LA and there are many pools around, there's no real pool that I would consider accessible to my life.
Okay.
How about you? What was your like pool going experience as a child? And now?
So when I was a kid, my mother's a big tennis player, so we always belonged to like a country club of some kind. So that means that we always had access to, like, my mother's preferred daycare method was take us to the club, drop us off at the pool, and then she was with her friends, right? So I used to be I was a little pool rat all the time. And like now it is so much harder. There was over a year when I lived in a building that had a pool like in the courtyard, and I probably went in that pool twice. It's just like a pool in a courtyard. It gets sun for like 3 hours in the middle of the day in summer, and no time any other time of the year. So like it's a scam. You don't actually get to use that pool.
I like the idea of swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And, like sometimes when I am feeling ambitious and I'm like, I would like a low impact, but like worthwhile exercise.
Right.
I consider swimming. And then the actual like practical details of doing so sound exhausting.
Yeah. You gotta like bring a suit with you, and
you have
a
to figure out like
towel.
where are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Right? Are you gonna get a gym membership?
Right. Or is there, because there's a pool at the Rose Bowl, right? Have we talked about this?
Yeah. It has to be like Rose Bowl adjacent.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just people filling the stands at the Rose Bowl, just watching you swim. Yeah, but like a place where you could do like laps,
Right.
And not because like this weekend, Sarah and I snuck into the pool at the Westin Bonaventure downtown, which is a hotel in downtown Los Angeles with a very easy to sneak into pool. So tip for everyone. If you're ever in downtown and not already staying at the Westin Bonaventure, you can go in their pool. It's no problem.
This is not an ad, by the way.
No, with the Westin Bonaventure, your home.
No. They're
no,
not paying us
not
for that.
Oh, sorry. So and it's not a, it's obviously not like a pool where you can swim lengths or anything. But we just went in because it was warm and we just wanted to have like a relaxing hangout time. And that was nice. I did take my shirt off. And it was fine. And, just like you say at the water park, like you look around and you're like, there may be 2 people here with better bodies than me, but like everyone else is just a garbage fire like me. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're fine here.
Yeah, we're fine. Everybody's fine.
That's right. Did you swim like competitively at all ever? Did you like?
No.
I was on a swim team for a little bit in high school, but I was never any good. And one time I threw up on coach's jacket.
If they were able to get the vomit out, we will never know.
We will never know. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know that I know the conclusion to that. We were accompanied today by pianist Elliot Schwartz. Mark, let's get into the news.
Good old data miners.
Good old data miners.
They've been, every time there's like an update or anything to a title, you can always count on data miners to go through it and see what they can see. And data miners have turned up some interesting things in updates to both ARMS and Splatoon 2 recently. ARMS has codenames for an additional 8 to 9 characters, depending on whether or not Twintale, TWINTALE, is just a repeat of Twintale's real code name,
which is hair.
Yeah.
So almost doubling the size of ARMS' roster, which is exciting if true.
And also there is an ARMS update, title update coming sometime this week, and no word on what the contents of that will include.
Yeah, everything I've read suggests that it's going to be small stuff.
Oh, okay. So just like maintenance, maybe some
maintenance, balancing.
Yeah. In Splatoon 2, there's additional maps are in development, which is not really a surprise. We knew more maps would be coming, but they found references to Kelp Dome and Blackbelly Skate Park, which are both really highly regarded maps from Splatoon, the original Splatoon, I believe.
Yeah, I really like Kelp Dome.
There are also 2 new maps for Salmon Run being tested, Shake House and 3 Points.
And those are just like their working names or how they're known internally, yeah.
And then some new weapons, of course, and they found some references to like Octoling Boy. So maybe, although I guess something similar was found in the original Splatoon, and nothing ever came of it, but maybe there's a chance you'll be able to play as Octolings.
Yeah, I mean that's the like hyped up rumor is like maybe you get to play as Octolings in some version of the game. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
I think they're cool design characters. And also we got Marina just hanging out with us. She's an Octoling.
Right.
One of us.
In light of Dragon Quest XI success on the 3DS in Japan, Square Enix is bringing the first 3 entries in the series to the Japanese 3DS eShop later this month. So I think at that point you'll be able to play every mainline Dragon Quest game outside of the MMO Dragon Quest X on the 3DS, and you may actually be able to play Dragon Quest X on the 3DS. I don't really know.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 for sure.
Yeah, and I think 4 and 5 had remakes as well.
Well, there you
4,
go.
5, and 6. So, I think these are the 1, 2, and 3 are the mobile versions, which my understanding is are not the best ports in the world, but still kind of cool if you have a Japanese 3DS. You can play all the Dragon Quest games on it.
What? It's weird to me that Square Enix has this like reputation for, or like there was a little bit where they were porting their early games over to mobile, but doing kind of a crummy job. Because like the Final Fantasy 6 and 4 mobile ports are supposed to be pretty bad, right?
Right, and don't they have like different new sprites and
the
things
sprites
like
are
that?
replaced with like some bad chibi artwork. It just doesn't. Yeah. So do you know if that's what the Dragon Quest games are like? Or?
I don't. I don't know if that's the case or if it's just like maybe not the most ideal port. And really, maybe they're totally fine. If it's just like a handful of people's opinions.
Yeah.
But in other Dragon Quest related news, Square Enix also announced that Dragon Quest Builders 2 will be coming summer 2018 for the PlayStation 4 and Switch.
That's cool.
Dragon Quest Builders 1 was really well received. It's like Minecraft-esque, but definitely not just like a Dragon Quest Minecraft clone.
Yeah.
To me, the most interesting thing about this is PS4 and Switch seem like a kind of like the future of multi-platform titles in Japan. Like that's a combination that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's the like the high-powered home console and what is essentially a handheld.
Right. So
right?
like
that's the new PS3 plus 3DS or yeah, I mean it's still like across the companies, right? Like
right. It's still across the companies, but like power-wise, they're like on a much more
there's more parity
like
there.
right, like you can make a Unreal Engine 4 game, although apparently a lot of those titles are having trouble on Switch, but you can make an Unreal Engine 4 game and it'll play across both platforms. And so that makes sense in a way that, you know, like PS4 3DS is a lot more work because you just have to build these games entirely.
Right, two
even
separate
like
games.
PS4, you know, like Wii U, PS4, Vita even, you know, like they're totally different platforms.
Different SKUs,
Yeah, and both like the PS4 is not the most successful console of all time, but up to the Switch's release, it was definitely the best-selling home console in Japan. And so now with the Switch, it just makes sense for companies going forward to develop games for both.
Yeah,
especially if you're Japan focused.
I've been surprised at how long we've had three console developers. Like I've thought forever that the market could really only bear 2. And I think part of that has just been offset by like Nintendo kind of doing something different. But like, man, just the PlayStation, Nintendo, like that future makes so much sense to me. And having like, I know there are a lot of Xbox fans, of course, but like, although no, I'm a big Xbox fan too because I know all about Halo and Master Chief. But yeah, just it's. I like that pairing of the PlayStation 4 and Switch.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think when you are developing for outside of Japan, it makes a lot of sense to have the Xbox in there. But as we've seen, it doesn't seem that difficult to make a multi-platform like Xbox PS4 title.
Right.
You know?
That's on both platforms.
So, and then of course, just speaking of Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii has also reiterated that Dragon Quest XI is still in the works for Switch. No information has been released about it, but it's definitely coming. It wouldn't be a surprise to me if it ends up being kind of like a when they have like the Pokemon like third version that combines the two.
Yeah,
where it's just like some sort of melding of the PS4 and 3DS version in one package to get people to triple dip potentially.
Right.
In this case.
And they'll do it.
Yep.
People love that Dragon Quest.
Well, and Dragon Quest 11 sold over 2 million copies in its first 2 days of release in Japan. So, and it seems to have been very well received. It sold over 1 million physical copies on the 3DS, a little under 1 million on the PS4. So,
yeah, which I mean that just answers the question of why continue to support the 3DS, because it's selling 1 million units of Dragon Quest in 2 days, 1 day.
Yeah, 2 days. Yeah. So, absolutely. This is a little interesting. Nintendo's Japanese, well, I say that like the previous stuff wasn't interesting, and of course it was. Of course, the previous stuff was riveting.
Right.
And this will continue that riveting nature.
This is going to be downgraded to just interesting. A curiosity.
Nintendo's Japanese store is touting amiibo functionality for NBA 2K18.
Weird. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be, we really don't know anything about the Switch versions of NBA 2K18 other than it's being released digitally the same day as everything else. I believe that's in September sometime. And then it won't be until later that we'll get physical versions of it in stores.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if they were including some sort of like
costumes?
Like, yeah, or like Mario's out there on the court.
Yeah, big Mario head mode.
I guess the thing, if this turns out to be true and not just like a error, it'll be really interesting to see what amiibo work with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there's any sporty amiibos, really.
What about the Wii Fit trainer?
Okay, great point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's my guess. My guess is that there are customizable characters in NBA 2K18, and that you can save the customizable character data to an amiibo and then take it to someone else.
And so no like special features or anything. It's just purely a way to like.
That's my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. It would be cool if there were like special jerseys or something, but that kind of goes against the
why you want
simulation of real life NBA. Night Trap developer Screaming Visions revealed on Twitter over the weekend that they were originally in talks with Nintendo to bring the remastered version of Night Trap to the Switch. So Nintendo originally apparently said, yeah, great, we're on board. And then 2 days later, reneged on that for what the developer said was a very, quote, random reason.
Fine. I don't need Night Trap on this thing.
So Night Trap, of course, for the reason that anybody cares about Night Trap at all, is because it was the center of like the video game violence and like controversy of the early 90s.
Yeah, along with Mortal Kombat. It's like an interactive movie about like vampires taking young women and doing bad things to them.
Yeah, and like you can the player like controls the like CCTV cameras.
Yeah.
And so it has a bunch of different perspectives, and there's actually like nothing bad in the game. There's, I mean, maybe some girls in not very revealing underwear, you know?
Sure.
Basically pajamas.
Right. Old-fashioned underwear.
But for some reason, it was like the title that then Senator Joe Lieberman like trotted out as an example of how immoral and terrible video games were, and this is basically why we got the ESRB.
Yeah.
So it's getting a re-release for, I think it's like 25th anniversary or something like that. It's in a weird cosmic way fitting that it won't be on a Nintendo console because part of the way that Nintendo avoided getting caught up in the storm around video game stuff was being like, it's not on our system. This is like
just policing
Sega's problems. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems totally fitting. It's a weird little thing that is just happening in the world of games right now that Nintendo's like, we don't. Here's a random reason.
This is based on no information, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if like Nintendo of America was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then later Nintendo of Japan
yeah,
was like, no. And so then NOA had to go to the developers and be like,
that.
yeah, exactly. That would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, makes sense.
Breath of the Wild's next downloadable content, the Champion's Ballad, is due this holiday, and it will, of course, include some more items familiar to fans of the previous games. The shirt Link starts out with in Wind Waker is one of the items that will be included.
Speaking of pajamas, right? It's basically like a pajama
Yeah,
shirt.
it is kind of, yeah.
I've always wanted to have a giant Link Wind Waker shirt that I could wear to bed.
And then cinch with a belt to go to work in.
That's right. That's right. It's hot in my office, Mark.
Yeah, we haven't really talked a bunch about Breath of the Wild lately.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Champion's Ballad.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for a little more story content.
Yeah, and a new dungeon, evidently, whatever that means. It was just so weird that like before the game came out and we got that list of what the DLC was going to include, and it said a new dungeon, that we had no concept of what the dungeons were in this game.
Right.
I assume that means like a new divine beast of some kind, but it could be anything.
Yeah, it really could be anything. Let's see. So, last week we were talking about Capcom having really great sales of Ultra Street Fighter 2. What was it called? Like Champions Edition? What was it?
It was Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Oh, that's it.
Right.
Oh, okay, great. Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch, it sold like 450,000 copies.
Maybe the Final Challengers?
That sounds right. Final Challengers. That sounds right. Capcom, they love their tests for Nintendo platforms. They love making Nintendo fans buy games.
Mm-hmm.
And for the promise that they are evaluating future support. So with the underhanded read between the lines of, if you don't buy this game, we are never going to put anything on Switch ever again.
You'll never see another Mega Man game. We're holding your favorites hostage.
So, everybody sucked it up and bought their Street Fighter 2 port. And
I did my part.
Yeah, and now they're asking us to buy Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 when it comes to the Switch later this year.
I didn't play either of the Revelations games.
I didn't either, and I think they're both pretty well regarded, especially the second one.
Oh, I remember hearing that the first one was look, these are games that you and I will have to play.
Yes, absolutely.
And now that they're both coming to Switch, for sure we'll do an episode about it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to be $20 each on the eShop or $40 in a retail package. Inside the retail package will be a game cart that has Resident Evil Revelations 1 on it, but just a download code for the second game.
To prevent people buying the game and reselling it?
No, I think it's just because it's there's no good way to do it at a reasonable price point. Like, you would either have to put two game carts in a package, and I think Resident Evil Revelations 2 is much larger than the first game, so it'd be an even bigger cart.
Well, and also, here's my guess as to because I would still believe that you'd be able to fit both Resident Evil Revelations games on one game cart, because the original was came out on 3DS first, so the games can't be that enormous, right?
Right, but the second one didn't. The second one is
Well, here's what I'm driving at is I don't think that Resident Evil Revelations 2 ever received a physical release before. I think it was only available as a downloadable title because it was originally episodic.
You might be right. I'm not sure.
So I think they just don't have the ability to physically manufacture. I don't know if there's some weird rights issue or distribution, or they have to seek other certification to distribute the game physically. But I'm guessing that's what it is. It's never seen a physical release and will never see a physical release.
I think that is a really positive way to look at it. I think they're just being not cheap, but I think they're
oh yeah, no, I mean they could. Just because it's never seen one before doesn't mean that they couldn't make it have one. I'm being a curmudgeon too.
Atlas has revealed Persona Q2 for the Nintendo 3DS. Literally, the only thing we know about it is that it's using the graphics and tagline from Persona 5, which is "Take Your Heart." So we can presume that the game will feature characters from that game. It's a follow-up to 2014's Persona Q Shadows of the Labyrinth, which mashed up the cast from Persona 3 and Persona 4.
Yeah. So this is I picked up Persona 5 on the PlayStation 4, and the game's a little weird for me. It's a little Japanese for me. But I would totally play it if I could pick it up and take it with me out on the Switch.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I having not played the previous Persona Q game, I don't think it's not like a remake or like a mobile remake or anything. It's just like a weird. It's just another like dungeon crawler type game, I think, that is just using the characters from the previous game.
Yeah, but it's also my understanding that the that Shadow of the Labyrinth is more in depth than just a dungeon crawler. That first game reviewed pretty well, and I know Persona fans liked it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like flirting with the idea of, but who knows? We know nothing about this game.
Yeah, and Persona is one of those titles that I want to like.
Yeah, I feel like I just missed the trolley though, right?
Yeah, like when I was here when you were playing something in Persona 5, and for me it wasn't like the it was like the jank of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like it felt so
it's like stilted and slow and
yeah, that was difficult for me to get past.
It also, I feel like its storytelling priorities are so weird. Like it just like it flashes around in time in ways that don't make sense to me, and like forces you to sit through these conversations that are just like excruciatingly dull. Alienating a lot of Persona fans now, I'm sure. But yeah, it was really tough for me to get into that game.
Development company Virtuos is apparently working on porting a AAA game to Switch. That's all the info we have, courtesy of the LinkedIn profile of a developer at the company. Virtuos has previously worked on Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age, Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD, Batman: Return to Arkham, which was, I think, the first two Batman.
That's right.
Like the
Arkham,
Rocksteady Batman.
Asylum and City.
Yeah. The games for the Wii U, and then Assassin's Creed, is it Ezio? Ezio, of course, collection, and plenty more. So
all of those games are coming to Switch. What do you think this is, Mark?
Some sort of collection of games,
or even a single release of a game.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I feel like it's going to be like a too late port of something from like Warner Brothers games,
like,
so like
Shadow of Mordor or something.
Yeah. Or was that the first one? I feel like
that was the first one.
Yeah, it'll be like the first one or something.
Right, but like the PS3 version without the Nemesis system.
Yeah, like I don't know. Not that this company does bad work, but
it sounds like that's what we're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like I don't know. I'd love to be surprised and have it be something not that.
Right. Also, I mean, just like Capcom threatening not to bring any of their games over to the Switch if it doesn't sell well. Like this could be one of those like. It's a bummer though that it probably will be a like downgraded or 4 years too late port of a game.
I guess I'm still, even though I didn't even own a Wii U, I have a bad taste in my mouth from like the Mass Effect 3 on Wii U that came out, like years after the original one, and you're just like, why would anybody buy this? But then when people don't buy it,
they're like, see, no one buys our games.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't. Have you purchased any of those games on like the downgraded version of games on Nintendo platforms? Because I never have.
No, because I've always did. No, I don't think I did. I think I rented from like GameFly. No, that's not true. Because before I had a Xbox 360 during the Wii era, I just had a Wii. And I bought. Do you remember when they tried to relaunch like Atari, or a company that had the Atari name at the time? They tried to reboot Alone in the Dark.
Yes.
And I bought the Wii like version of that. So the game itself was not very good on the platforms it was really meant for, and the Wii version was especially
abysmal,
dire. But I think that's the one, and I may have rented Chop Till You Drop, the
Dead Rising
game, on, because I was so curious about that version. But no, because
because why?
I've basically always owned an Xbox 360 PS3 or a PS4, so I can get the good versions of those games if I want them. In an interview promoting Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, developers from Ubisoft talked about how easy it was developing for the Switch and that it was no issue running Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine on the console. I bring this up because we talked a few weeks ago about the rumored problems Ubisoft was having getting Steep working on Switch, but they're different. They run on those two games run on different engines.
Well, so now Ubisoft knows for the future.
Yeah.
What engine to develop on.
And super easy to put these multi-platform games on. Well, not super easy. There's no such thing as super easy.
It's all super easy. File, save as, PS4. File, save as, Switch.
But there seems to be less reason for Ubisoft to not bring their multi-platform titles to it.
Yeah.
Although Ubisoft is one of the third-party developers who is actually putting effort in on the Switch. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mario plus Rabbids is like the biggest third-party contribution to the platform that we've seen to date.
For sure. Gamefly added an entry for a Switch version of Telltale's Batman game. This follows various retailers listing the game, and in the past, various retailers have listed the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game for Switch as well. There's been no official word from Telltale on any of this, but I guess Gamefly doesn't usually. They are less prone to putting up listings that turn out later to not be
bogus.
Real.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something here.
I mean, it seems strange that they wouldn't, right? Like you can run Telltale games on your phone or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Telltale's whole thing is like put the game on as many platforms as possible, then get it on the Switch.
So, just some eShop news as we get to the end here. Tumbleseed is on sale for 33% off, bringing its price down to $10, $9.99. The sale ends August 19th. And if you've been thinking about picking up Ion Sepsuna, now's a great time to do it because it is on sale. I think it's like $24. But that sale ends Thursday, August 10th.
So if you're listening to this the day it comes out, and of course you are,
yeah,
you've got 2 days. You've got 2 days to pick up Ion Setsuna.
Did you ever put any more time in Ion Setsuna?
I put a little time into it.
There's a lot going on. I still have not picked up Dragon Quest VII since the last time.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not shaming
you. Pressured.
Yeah, you shouldn't at all. I was just curious. I was genuinely just asking. Shovel Knight is now available as a downloadable character in Blaster Master Zero. He's free at the moment, but will cost $1.99 starting August 16th. This comes on the heels of Shantae being added to the game in a similar manner.
Yeah, she was also free for a little bit, but I wasn't really paying attention at the time. Also, Blaster Master, I didn't really care about that much, but I'm not going to miss an opportunity to play as Shovel Knight.
In related Shovel Knight news, developer Yacht Club will be bringing King Knight's campaign to PAX West. PAX West is September 1st through 4th, and we'll have more information about it then.
I'm excited for this.
At long last, Rhyme has been dated for the Nintendo Switch. I think this is one of those too little too late things. I don't know that people care enough about Rhyme to pick it up on Switch. I guess we'll see.
I think people were interested in Rhyme, but then it came out and they're like, yeah, it seems like it's fine.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what kind of response Yooka-Laylee gets when it's released a little bit later. Rhyme will be coming out on November 14th in North America and in Europe on November 17th. Other recently announced games include Axiom Verge on October 17th, and Thimbleweed Park is coming sometime this month or sometime in September, but should be, I guess, fairly soon.
Mark, quit fooling around. The 2 pieces of information we want.
I wish I could tell you.
When are Pocket Rumble and Stardew Valley coming out on this
Who knows?
thing?
Who knows? I don't even know that we've had any update on either of them for quite some time.
This is a gross miscarriage of justice.
Very disappointing.
We still don't know when these games are coming out.
Soon, hopefully, right? I mean, Pocket Rumble, I'm not going to say I've given up hope.
Don't you roll your eyes at me.
But Stardew Valley, we had the promise of summer.
There was the developer did post an update about the multiplayer modes, and about because that's supposed to premiere on Switch. That
on console.
Yes,
that's right.
But that it is going to like the beta testing on PC shortly. But still, that doesn't really give us any indication of when it's coming to Switch.
And again, we're not angry. We just want to enjoy your game.
That's all.
Yeah.
We just want to enjoy and love your game.
Yes.
Give it to us. Give it.
And last, in response to the Walmart SNES pre-order mix-up,
the continuing give it,
yeah, or the SNES Classic Edition pre-order mix-up, Nintendo released the following statement on Facebook. Quote, "We appreciate the incredible anticipation that exists for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super NES Classic Edition, and can confirm that it will be made available for pre-order by various retailers later this month. A significant amount of additional systems will be shipped to stores for launch day and throughout the balance of the calendar year."
What a non-statement.
Well, it at least lets us know that the Super NES Classic Editions will be available for pre-order in North America, which was information that we did not have, and that they would be happening this month. I'm going to guess like towards the end of the month, like maybe a month from the launch date.
The launch date being September 29th, so you think maybe August 29th we'll have... Mark your calendars. Mark says August 29th pre-orders go live.
And yeah, I don't know that we're going to have a repeat of last year. Right? They seem to be getting out in front of this idea that it's going to be super limited.
Well, I hope it goes a little bit better than last year.
Me too.
Let's move out of the news. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember to join us on Thursday when we're going to be talking about Yoshi's Story. So brush up on your Yoshi chops, eat some berries, and just go for those light melons.
Yeah, go for the light melon. Don't be like us.
Yeah, don't be like us. We were like, that's garbage fruit. We don't want it. That's
How
the
wrong
fruit you
we
want.
were.
But if you enjoyed this episode, please, rate and review us on iTunes. Also, if you enjoyed this, tell a friend about it or share it on social media. We are at NinCart Society on Twitter, and our Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions about stuff, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo, and our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can find more of 8-Bit Betty's music on 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying, give it to me. And thanks for listening.
What's a Creative Podcast Network?